All right, fire them up!
You know, the great thing about being sick and sitting at home is there's a lot of good anime to watch. It's pretty much the only good thing. There are tons of good anime out there to watch. Yes, we have Amazon Prime and Crunchyroll and a handful of other sites that just throw anime in our face, and that's all well and good. But if you look hard enough, there are other places to get anime, and I'm telling you, really good shows that a whole lot of people are overlooking. Which ones are they overlooking, in my opinion? These three right here. To be honest, Moonrise has probably one of the most notorious tropes that we've seen in science fiction and anime that, has ever existed. It's a story that we've seen before. Earth has ran out of resources or is very close to running out of resources. We send people to the moon to mine them. And then the next thing you know, we're at war between Earth and moon. I mean, we've seen this in a whole bunch of anime and a whole bunch of other sci-fi movies and TV shows before. But at least with Moonrise, it's a fresher take. It's animated and it is a whole lot of fun. I think it's one of the better anime that I've seen over the spring and over the early winter of 2025. And not enough people are talking about it. And I think specifically because it's on Netflix. I think there's this big revolt against Netflix and all of their anime as it has been, even though we have gotten Castlevania and we've gotten Arcane, and both are really good. There's still this big contingent of people who are still angry about Devil May Cry as it's all done, and a bunch of other things that has to do with anime. So I think Moonrise, excuse me, is catching backlash against it because it's on Netflix. If it was on anywhere else, I don't think we would have a big backlash against it as much as we do. But it is a very fun anime. Trope aside, one of the biggest problems you're going to have watching it is that there are a lot of flashbacks, and sometimes you will be in a flashback and then get another flashback. So there's a lot of that going on, but you can overcome that by, simply paying closer attention. It's not that big a deal. I've sat and watched it. It is a whole lot of fun. And if you have a chance to watch it, sit it, you will enjoy it. I guarantee it. At the beginning of the year, I talked about this before, that Netflix was getting ready to inject a huge sum of money into not only crafting new anime, but getting older properties and turning them into anime as the year goes on and as the years are going to come. They are investing as heavily as they possibly could, and more so than anybody that I can think of as far as the streaming sites go, into getting anime onto their streaming site. So the fact that we got a Devil May Cry series, it doesn't really surprise me, especially after Castlevania and after Arcane. The idea that they were going to do Devil May Cry, it seemed to fall right in line with everything that they were going to do. The series itself, it doesn't really follow the first video game. This is chronological in what they're doing. So this particular series of Devil May Cry is following what would be the third game, which chronologically everything that happens in the third game is what actually happens first. This is Dante when he's very young. He's sort of naive. He kind of knows that he kind of doesn't know that he's the son of Sparta, but he is in fact hunting demons. We do get Lady in this one, even though they did change her character quite a bit, in my opinion. She's more foul-mouthed and more abrasive than her character in the series. And to me, that's kind of a drawback, because what makes Lady such a really good character in the game, which we don't get in the series, is that she is wounded. She's conflicted about her feelings toward her father and everything that she's been put through, and her alliance with Dante at first is just some sort of convenience, but by the end they do become really good friends. And part of what makes Dante who he is going forward is everything that happens in the game and everything that happens with her in the game, and it affects him. But we don't get that in the series, and so many people have complained about it, and I totally agree with them. A lot of what happens with Lady in this series doesn't really pay off into affecting Dante in the series, but honestly, it's something I can kind of overlook because I know where they're going with the next season, and season 2 has been greenlit and they are already in production for it. So we should get season 2 of Devil May Cry sometime next year. But the fact that they made the series is actually pretty good. I like the animation. Johnny Young Bosch doing the voice of Dante, it's not bad. I like it, but for some odd reason, whenever I hear him, and it was not for some odd reason, but whenever I hear Johnny Young Bosch, I hear Ichigo. I don't hear Dante. Johnny Young Bosch actually does voices for Nero in the video game. So like I also hear Nero and I hear Ichigo. I don't hear Dante. I wonder why, if they were going to get Johnny Young Bosch to do this, and why didn't they just get the original voice actor, whose name I can't remember right now, but why didn't they just get him to do the voice in the series as well? And to me, that would have made the most sense, but this is Netflix we're talking about. They don't do really everything how we think it ought to be done. But overall, it's a pretty good series. The changes that they made, I don't particularly like, but they're not big enough for me to say, oh, this series just is bad, it's trash, it sucks altogether. But it doesn't for me. It's a lot of fun. It's a 7 out of 10. Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League is exactly what you were expecting to get. Now, this is the follow-up to the 2018 Batman Ninja feature, and DC gave us a very good, very fun follow-up to that one. And you, like I said, you get exactly what you were expecting. Now, no, you don't get castles transforming into giant mechs, but this one gives you exactly the same amount of fun and the same amount of Batman ingenuity that you would expect from any DC feature that's going to feature Batman. Now, Batman, only a day after returning from the past from that particular feature, he finds out that Japan and everything that's going on in the world is not exactly the way he left it. And no sooner than he can start to figure that out, Yakuza starts raining from the sky. Now, this Yakuza, they resemble everybody in the Justice League, but they're bad guys. They're not good guys like ours. And it's just exactly what you'd expect it to be. It's Batman and his allies outwitting as many of these Yakuza League members that he can possibly outwit on the way to the end and being the hero of the story. It's exactly what you're expecting to get. Now, if you're expecting anything more than that, if you're expecting something along the lines of Christian Bale as Batman or even Robert Pattinson as Batman, that's not what you get. You're going to get a lot of fun. It's animated. It is an anime. It is, yes, it's DC and it's a DC property with Batman and all of the characters, but this is a full-on anime. They gave it a full-on anime treatment, and it is absolutely a shit ton of fun. For me, it's an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. I expected just to see some silly little, 90-minute thing, but for me, it is a lot of fun. It is up there with one of the better anime that I've seen this year, and it's only an hour and a half long. But honestly, it's getting to the point where I've said this before, that DC's animation is just top tier. It's better than anything and pretty much a lot of people are putting out, especially their rivals over at Marvel. But if they keep putting out things like this, it's getting to a point where DC just needs to invest heavily in their animation department and start doing these and start putting them out at least 2 to 3 times a year, not once every 5 or 6 months. 2 to 3 times a year, 2 hours long, do full on features, and let that be part of the DCU instead of doing these live action movies. I think they'll get a better return in the long run, and putting these into the theaters, guaranteed this will get butts in the seats. So there you have Batman Ninja versus the Yakuza League, Moonrise, and Devil May Cry 3 anime that has gotten me over being sick and being not able to do much of anything, of just sit on the couch and watch TV. But 3 very good shows, 3 very good showings, I should say, and for animation. I'm hoping Netflix does a hell of a lot more anime to come. I do like what Netflix is doing. Anime has been very much confined to like Crunchyroll and a handful of other places, but at least they're trying to give us an alternative shows to watch. So I at least do appreciate that. They're all going to be great. No, obviously not. I mean, hell, even with the Japanese companies doing anime, they don't always give us bangers. They give us a lot, but they don't always do. And I think Netflix is starting to fall into that category. But you tell me what you think down in the comments. I'll catch you in the next video. And God bless. I love you and peace. See you next time.